Listen up, Agent. The following briefing is brought to you by From the Helicarrier, your #1 news source for Marvel's Avengers Alliance, and the Marvel Avengers Alliance Wikipedia. Welcome back, Agent. Knowing now how to really make sure you hit your foe in battle, I think we should go over some of the weapons to add to your stockpile. The weapons in Chapter 2 of Season 2 in particular are interesting because they are part of a set of weapons, not unlike that you would see in SpecOps, that have certain functions together that activate. These smart weapons can be incredibly useful together, but can still be used apart when the situation calls for it. Should you find yourself acquiring a lot of these items in battle, be sure to experiment with them to see which combination works best for you. Coming from Antiquity, the first mission of Chapter 2, you'll have to take care of the living pharaoh should you want to stun Baton. This weapon is rather powerful for the simple fact that it has a 100% chance to stun the enemy should you hit them with it. This can easily help turn the tide of battle should you be stuck against someone who's exploiting extra turns, or you simply need to stop someone in their tracks from the get-go. Keep in mind though, this effect does not work against bosses or those with the relentless EISO, so be wary. The ceramic blade will come from the Abomination stash when you finish the 8 Fingers mission. Capable of packing a fairly decent punch with its ability to get higher critical hits than other weapons, it'll also tenderize their body a bit more for greater damage for your blade-wielding allies. Add in the Weaken debuff to cut down on their damage and you've got a fairly solid weapon. Dealing with the Titanium Man in Foggy Vision, the 3rd mission of the chapter, might just net you the Power Gauntlet. The first of the weapons to have an effect with the other smart weapons, the equipment will give you the Attack Optimization buff. This makes it so that every time you use one of the other smart weapons in battle, you'll increase the strength of the next gauntlet attack. What's more is that this effect will not be used up when attacking with the fist, making it a good source of damage. Keep in mind though that an enemy with buff removing effects can negate all that power. In Chapter 4, The Sting, you'll find yourself fighting off against Viper and the other members of Hydra. Taking them down might just reward you with the Sling Cannon. A weapon of fairly high damage, the cannon has 2 different modes of attack, allowing you to either fire on a single enemy for higher damage, or spread out the attack to hit all your foes for a weaker effect. This is in junction to having the Underdog passive, making you do increased damage against an enemy who would normally have the advantage over you thanks to their class. The 500 GW power supply actually shows us a bit of a problem with the resources we can get for fighting the epic boss Red Skull. The simple fact is the enhanced version of the weapon, the 750 GW power supply, is supposed to come from defeating him but currently is only found on the daily missions that can drop equipment. Regardless, both grant the same effect with just a round difference between the two, as they'll melt the armor of all your foes while overclocking your smart weapons, allowing them to get extra attacks in. Just remember that you'll need Wolverine, Thundra, and the Thing to even get to the Red Skull. Fighting the Hood in Mission 5, Rehabilitation, is where you'll have a chance to find the Depleter Mark II. A rather potent weapon, it grants a unique debuff that is, as far as heroes and your weapons are concerned, is unique to it and its normal mode counterpart. Placing 10 stacks of the dampening debuff on them, which reduces the damage they can do to you by 5% for every stack, means you're taking the teeth out of them from the word go. Be wary though, since this weapon does kick like a mule, so it'll leave you stunned for a short while. The premium mission Rock Candy, which requires you to have the Scarlet Witch by your side, is where you'll find the last 2 weapons that we'll be going over in this briefing, Agent. The first is something you might find after dealing with the Living Monolith, who is the Living Pharaoh should he actually gain enough energy to sustain this form. The weapon itself is called the Chaos SMG, and it's an extremely useful weapon that has 2 different rounds that it can fire at the enemy. The first are the Chaos rounds, which can affect the enemy with the Chaos Shot, capable of applying near every single attrition debuff known. The exploitation rounds allow it to do just that, exploiting the attrition debuffs while also ignoring the defense of your enemy to do increased damage. This can be easily paired up with heroes who can stack up the debuffs so you can do the damage. Finally, we have the Revolt 5, which comes from the epic boss of the premium mission Sugar Man. You'll have to get the help of Nightcrawler, Iron Man, and Tigress should you want to fight him though. That said, the Revolt 5 is no longer a useful item to try and obtain simply because of the changes to how quick actions work. Originally, this weapon would have been able to fire upwards to 6 times under the old rules of the quick actions. Now though, 2 shots is the limit for what you can do if you use this weapon at all. Should this gear get updated, it might be worth looking at again, but until then it's probably better just to stay clear of it. In our next briefing, we'll be going over a particular set of effects that you can inflict on a foe that has no real official category. Regardless, it's key to know what they are and how to use them effectively, as they'll always enhance the damage you do. And what could be better than doing more damage?